Hey everybody, it's Mattie here with Altcoin Buzz. Hope you're having a fantastic Sunday and a great weekend. It's a little bit of a slow news day. There's not a whole lot going on at the time of this recording. That could always change, but for now there seems to be a certain calm out there in the world. So I thought we'd take a look at a couple of explanatory articles, take an opportunity to explore some of the nitty-gritty, technical details, I guess, for lack of a better term, in the space. And that's what we're doing here with a look at ETNs versus ETFs. We'll also look at some of the updates that are happening with some of the exchanges out there, notably eToro and Coinbase. A couple of quick updates for you out there in the Altcoin Buzz army. But let's take a look at this article to start. So ETN versus ETF, we're here on Cointelegraph.com, which is the investor's dream. You guys have probably heard very much, more than enough now, about ETFs. And of course, this whole market spiral that we've been in on the downward trend over the course of the last, month now or so has been a result more or less collectively because of the rejection of the ETF. Not even the rejection, but the delay of the decision by the ETF, by the SEC, that's now delayed until the end of September. So what is the ETN? ETN is an exchange-traded note. It's considered a soft alternative to Bitcoin ETF that many are chasing after. But even with this move to make it accessible to an audience in the United States, separate from their country's regulations and the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, there was not much movement in the market. Remember, we talked about how you can actually pursue an ETN on the other side of the world. There are some international options. But let's explain the specifics. So why an ETN or an ETF in the first place? We've talked about ETFs already. I'm not going to go over that in a great amount of detail, but basically the security there is that it's a familiar instrument. So as explained here, they make it far more comfortable and familiar for the institutional investor who has been using ETFs for other assets and commodities. That's the on-ramp idea, right, in the institutional investment world. And this might be why many think it could be a big entry point for a lot of money into the Bitcoin space. An ETN, again, exchange-traded note, on the other hand, seen as a soft ETF, is a debt instrument that is backed by its issuers, such as a bank, rather than a pool of assets. Often they focus on esoteric strategies that don't easily fit into a fund. And who knows, maybe that soft version is the way to go, because don't forget, you have people like Andreas Antonopoulos who are actually against the idea of a Bitcoin ETF. So this is a quote by Mr. Antonopoulos. "I'm going to burst your bubble. I know a lot of people want to see an ETF happen because of To the Moon and Lambos and all that. I think it's going to happen. I just think it's a terrible idea. I'm against ETFs. I think a Bitcoin ETF is going to be damaging to the ecosystem." So I imagine that's in the context of regulation and not wanting a lot of the oversight. So criticism is not that an ETF would cause prices to drop or investments to stop. In fact, what he says to clarify, quote, "Everybody's so excited about ETFs because what we have seen in other markets is that when an ETF becomes available, as we saw in gold, the price rally increases dramatically as suddenly that commodity becomes available to a lot more investors, and these investors pile on." And there's a fear, as Mr. Antonopoulos goes on, describing the fact that the more you have an institutionalized market characterized by ETFs, the more you have manipulation, the more you have potential for corruption and mismanagement and shady dealing. So I think that's what he's keen to avoid. Now, of course, we're going to attach this link in the description below, but you can read about Mr. Jeff Kilberg's thoughts. He's the founder and CEO of KKM Financial. He's just talking about the fact that really an ETN is not a bad product, but it's just not a market mover in the same way that ETFs are. There's not a lot of collective enthusiasm or excitement about them in the same way. It's the reason that the ETF here is still the holy grail as far as these things are concerned. So at least for the time being, yes, an ETF remains the holy grail. With an ETN now available to US investors, as well as futures trading possible through a number of institutionalized trading houses, Bitcoin is still not reaching new heights. There is a lot of hype and excitement about possible ETFs as the SEC continues to mull over a number of applications for various Bitcoin ETFs. And I think this is a good way to phrase it here in the closing sentiment. The feeling is that there is a mountain of money waiting to enter the Bitcoin space that is being held back by non-traditional methods of investing. Let us know what you guys think about this particular article. I'm still of the opinion that the whole fixation on the ETF is really too myopic. It's too overblown, and it's prioritizing it way too much. It's not a deal breaker in any way. I'd like to see it happen ultimately. I think it would be a positive. But the fact that it's being delayed, or even if it were to be rejected, that to me is just, it's not the end of the world. It doesn't really change any of the fundamentals. But that's just me. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Looking at other news here, we have news out of a couple of the exchanges. We'll start with this piece on finance magnates. eToro hires Israeli cybersecurity expert as advisor. So Bucky Carmeli joins the fast-growing team of eToro as the company continues its global expansion. Any eToro users out there, not too sure. We don't often talk about eToro. We tend to have a fixation on Coinbase because they're just doing so much. But here's an interesting quote. As we continue to grow, talking about eToro, our user base, and expand globally, we want to ensure that our cybersecurity awareness and capabilities also continue to develop. Buki's, so I'm going to call him Buki's in-depth knowledge and experience in technology defense is second to none, and we look forward to working with him to further enhance our cybersecurity capabilities. Not too bad. That's a comment from Yoni Asia, co-founder and CEO of eToro. That's excellent. So that's a pretty hefty pedigree. I mean, if you're recruiting from the world of Israeli cybersecurity, that's pretty serious. And it looks like eToro is very serious about their future and about their growth. It's not a major story. I'm not saying it is, but it's just something that I wanted to highlight, something interesting. So if you'd like to read about it further and in more detail, of course, we're going to link to this in the description below. And finally today, guys, short video, just wanted to highlight the fact that Coinbase wins patent to protect a secure Bitcoin payment system. Reading here on bitcoinist.com. So the largest US-based cryptocurrency exchange has made another move towards providing a secure environment for digital currency trading. So you can see here that on August 14th, the US Patent and Trademark Office has granted basically protection for a secure Bitcoin payment trading system, and that's unique to Coinbase. So the system paves the way for users to pay directly with Bitcoin through their wallet without having to worry about the security of their private key. The patent also provides the issues which are currently preventing this from happening. Quote, it may be a security concern for users that the private keys of their Bitcoin addresses may be stolen from their wallets. Existing systems do not provide a solution for maintaining security over private keys while still allowing the users to check out on a merchant page and making payments using their wallets. So you guys can read more about that if this is something of interest. As always, we're going to link to this story with the others in the description below. Again, guys, not the biggest news day in the world, but some fun articles here. If there's something else on your mind, let's have at it in the discussion below. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. As always, members of the Altcoin Buzz Army, do be sure you're following Altcoin Buzz and Altcoin Buzz News. Hey, if you liked the video, leave us a thumbs up. Make sure you're subscribed and click the bell to be notified to new videos which come out every day. Check out our last video here on the right, and do be sure to swing by altcoinbuzz.io. Visit our website. Members of the Altcoin Buzz Army, with that, have a great Sunday, great end of your weekend, and we'll see you again soon. Take care.